Hello, follow-up boss friends. It's Gabe with API Nation. Hey, somebody sent me a question. Can I sync my follow-up boss leads, my contacts I have in follow-up boss, to Mailchimp? I want to start sending out a newsletter. I don't want to have to export these guys each time I send out that email. I just want them automatically pushed in there. And that's a great idea. That's something we can set up through API Nation for sure. Let me show you how to do it. So on API Nation, you're going to go to apps, and then you're just going to find follow-up boss. Here we go. So click on follow-up boss. And we have this integration for follow-up boss where it pushes all your leads into Google Sheets. It's great. It creates a backup of them. You want that anyway. And then we're just going to send everything to Google Sheets. And then we have another workflow that sends everything in Google Sheets into Mailchimp. So I'm going to show you how that works. So I'm just going to sign into API Nation, or you can sign up if you don't have an account. And here we go. So you can see at the top here, we have these two apps that we want to use, Follow Up Boss to Google Sheets, and they're both offline, which just means they're not connected to the API Nation platform yet. So it's a piece of cake to connect them. I'm just going to click on the icon. It asks for the API key to Follow Up Boss. So let's do that. I'm going to go to Follow Up Boss. I'm going to click on this wrench here in admin. And here's API, and that's where the API key is. So I'm going to copy that. And we are just going to paste it in here. And then I can name this. I'm just going to name this, API Nations. This is just the name for this connection. FUB, Follow Up Boss. Great. So let's connect it. And you'll see now its logo. It no longer has that offline. And let's do the same thing for Google Sheets. Click on this guy. And Google has a little bit slicker way to connect it, so you don't actually need to find an API key or anything. You just click on the account you want to connect. Great. There we go. So it's showing you the template of the workflow we're going to use to sync all those leads. I want to use this template, and I want to use this account, the one I just connected, and the Gabe at apination.com. Great. Cool. And now there's just a few options. I can sync all my contacts from Follow Boss on that first run. Let's do that, sure. You could also, if you wanted to only send, specific tagged contacts, if you wanted to create a newsletter full of agents, and you had tagged every agent in Follow Boss with the agent tag, you could use that tag, agent. But I'm just going to sync them all. Apply. And now it asks you, what name do you want for that spreadsheet in Google Drive? I'm going to call this my FUB Mailchimp list. And apply that. Great. So it's all configured. Now we're just going to click the play button and run. Workflow is activated. You can see here's a log showing you that it's updated, and it's started. So right now the workflow is pulling all my contacts from Follow Boss, and it's putting them in a Google Drive sheet. So I just refreshed it. It looks like that is complete. Let's go into my Google Drive and see what that looks like. I'm looking for Mailchimp. Here it is, FUB Mailchimp list. Pop it open. Great. Here's all my Follow Boss contact, email, first name, last name, all the stuff that I'm going to need to create that Mailchimp list. So let's do that now. We'll head back to API Nation. We're going to click on apps. And we are going to click on Google Sheets. And we're just building that second bridge. So I'm just going to go down here to Mailchimp. And I'm looking for the workflow template to send the Google Sheets to Mailchimp. So here it is, sync Google Sheets to Mailchimp. It goes the other way also, but this is the one I want for our purposes. Great. So you see, this is looks a little bit different, but I can see the connections here. And actually, I want to connect a different Mailchimp account. I don't want to go into that API Nation one. We have another guy, so I'm going to connect another account. And again, in Mailchimp, it's going to ask you for an API key. Okay, so in Mailchimp, I'm just going to click here. And click this drop-down arrow and click Profile. And then under Extras, there's a drop-down and API keys. So here we go. Here's an API key. I'm just going to hit Command C or Control C and copy that. We're going to go back to API Nation, paste it right in there, and I can name it. I'm going to call it my dev Mailchimp. You can name it whatever you want. Again, it's just for your own individual reference. So now that I connect it, you can see it appears in the dropdown, and that's the one I want to target. Let's save it. Great, so it's saved. Now we go to settings, it's asking for the spreadsheet URL. And that's really easy. If we go back to that Follow Up Boss Mailchimp list, you can see here is that URL. So I'm just going to highlight that by triple clicking and hit Command C again. And we'll go back to API Nation and hit Command V or Control V. And we're going to save that. Great. So now it knows which Google Sheet it's looking at. And then it asks, which mailing list do you want? I'm going to call it News Sellers. And that is just pulling from your audiences here. So in that Mailchimp account, I have a few different audiences: developer, Tyler testing, news sellers. So just set it to whichever audience you want to send this mass email out to. And here you can just map things up: first name, last name. You need the email. So I'm going to click email and then click email. Great. So that's lined up. And then anything else you want to add, go ahead and do that. And hit save. Cool. So this is mapped out: email, first name, last name, phone. And now I will just hit start. And it's going to run every 10 minutes. So probably every 10 to 15 minutes, Follow Up Boss is going to send its contacts to Google Sheets. And then every 10 minutes or so, Google Sheets is going to send it to Mailchimp. So it's not going to be instantaneous, but near instantaneous, and definitely up to date when you want to send out that Mailchimp newsletter. So it's running. If I wanted to force it to run regardless of the 10-minute schedule, I can just click this button and run now. There we go. Lock is running. And now it's going to go ahead and start pushing those in there. Now, anytime you add a Follow Up Boss lead, it'll sync to your Google Sheet where you have this sweet backup of all your leads just in case anything happens. And then you also have this workflow that takes this Google Sheet, syncs it to your Mailchimp. Anytime you want, you can just hop into Mailchimp and fire off a campaign to your entire Follow Up Boss audience. So there we go. We hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, give us a phone call. It'll all ask in the comments. We'll be around. Thanks so much.